Welcome to the Rise to Shine podcast with Noelle Custis, where we ignite the spark to discover your favorite self. It is time to get real, ladies. Hello, hello. Today I am so thrilled to welcome Megan Lanford, an expert in travel hacking, who has made it her mission to teach women how to unlock the world of travel by using credit card points to make vacations practically free. And she really has this great understanding of women that are dreaming of traveling and creating memories with their families, but often find themselves held back by our tight budgets and high travel costs. So she is here to show us how to really get those dream destinations to become a reality for us. So I am super, super excited. And Megan, I'm just really happy to have you on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here and teach you guys all things traveling on points.
Yes, I love it, love it. Well, let's just get right in because as I shared with you before we started recording, I am selfishly excited about this as well because I want to learn all of the things that you have been talking about. I know we met on a networking call and I think all of us were super intrigued. So I'd love for you to just tell us about yourself and what inspired you to get into travel hacking and teaching others about it.
Yeah, so I have always loved travel. I've always told my husband before we even got married, like, I really want to be able to take at least one trip a year. Like, that's just really important to me. And we always did that. We made it a priority, but like many of you, we saved up for months in advance. We would find the cheapest hotel to stay at, the cheapest flights, just piecemealing it and never really being able to like dream about these big trips. And I was having a conversation with a friend who like just decided to go to Disney with his 3 kids like the weekend before. And I was like, I want that so bad. And I was pregnant with my first daughter. She's now 2 years old. And I wanted something different for her. My husband didn't fly until he was 18 years old. And it was to go into the Marines, to go overseas. And so we just wanted something different for our child. So I learned about travel points and just dove in and learned everything that I could. And we started up earning points and now we get to travel over 6 times a year. My daughter, like I said, she just turned 2 and has been on 5 flights now. She's been out of the country. And so it's just amazing what we're able to do for her.
Wow, that is so amazing. I have so many thoughts running through my brain right now, especially since we just went on a trip to Disney World. Now we live in California, so we've been to Disneyland many times, but we thought we want to just check out Disney World, and see what it's all about. And holy cow, it was not a cheap trip at all. And I always am wondering, how in the world do families do this, especially when you have young kids, when you have multiple kids? It is not cheap to be able to get to all of these amazing destinations. And I love that you shared that the first time that your husband actually flew was to be, he was in the Marines. He wasn't young when he started traveling. He was 18. And I feel like I definitely had that too. I took a lot of road trips when I was younger, but we didn't really fly very often. We weren't, we didn't travel abroad. We didn't do any of that. And I will say that my husband definitely put that bug in all of us, and we love to travel. So this is going to be so great to be able to figure out how to do this and not break the bank. So I would love for you to just also share for us that for people that are new to this concept, can you just, break down what travel hacking with credit points even is and how it makes travel more affordable?
Yeah, so every day you're swiping your debit card for your gas, your groceries, your everyday expenses. And when you swipe that debit card, the only thing you're getting out of that purchase is the thing that you bought. And if you make a simple switch to not using your debit card, I haven't used my debit card in probably 3 years, to a travel credit card that earns you valuable points, there's tons of them out there, you are then earning points for free travel. And you don't have to spend a ton of money. That's the biggest misconception. It's just like I said, your everyday expenses, and then you're just paying that credit card off in full every single month. So we're not accruing any interest, any credit card debt, anything like that. We're spending the money we were already intentionally going to spend for that month. And then you can get large amounts of points to take practically free vacations with those expenses. So it's a pretty simple concept. The banks just try to hide that from you because they don't want you to use the points that you would earn from them. They just want you to rack up credit card debt.
That's such a good point. And I know, because one of the things, and even myself included, like you said, it's not something that people put out there for you because it is one of those things that, like you said, they make their money off of credit card debt. So that is first and foremost. And I think that some people hear travel hacking and might think like, oh, it's going to be super complicated. It could even be risky. What would you say to people that might be hesitant or skeptical in that area?
Yeah. So as long as, like I said, you're paying that credit card off in full every single month and being responsible, you're not going to accrue any interest, not any debt, and your credit score is actually going to increase. So my credit score is over 800 and has increased significantly over the last few years. I have like 13 credit cards in my wallet. And so it really doesn't have to seem like this big scary thing. Obviously, I'm not expecting you to go get 13 credit cards, start small like I did, but there's really nothing that should scare you from doing this. And just know that you can save thousands of dollars on your travel makes it well worth it.
Okay. So now here is my biggest question, because this is where I tend to feel overwhelmed whenever I'm thinking about, looking into something like this. And that is all about like choosing the right credit card. I know there's lots of credit cards that are out there that have travel rewards. So how do you guide people into choosing the right one for their travel goals or their budgets?
Yeah, so there's 4 major banks that have travel credit cards: Chase, Capital One, Citi, and American Express. And like you said, there's tons of them to choose from. There's Southwest cards, there's Hyatt cards, all these different things. I always suggest starting with Chase Bank, specifically the Chase Sapphire Preferred Card. It's a really low annual fee of $95. They have business credit cards that are $0 annual fees, so very like minimal barrier to entry. And the great thing about Chase is they're called what we call flexible point cards. And so those points are very flexible and you can use them with hotels and airlines. They have several partners. And so it makes it really easy. So you can earn those points and then try and figure out later on what you want to do with it. So like if you wanted to go to Disney, for example, you have Hyatt hotels and Marriott hotels and all these different options that you could use those Chase points for and then take a free vacation. So Chase is definitely the place for beginners to start.
Okay, so helpful. Just that alone right there. I feel like it's such a great nugget to walk away with, because that is something that honestly I've never really known. And just even exploring that option just felt overwhelming to even try to dive in, because, you try to Google these things and, you're getting all sorts of answers because everybody's trying to sell you on their credit card. So I love just that straightforward answer and us being able to, definitely lean in on that. But here's another question, because as I was speaking to a friend of mine that I was going to be interviewing you, and I was so excited. One of the comments that she made, or questions that she said, is, okay, I know that if I talk to my husband about this, the biggest concern is always the risk of overspending. And I'm just curious if you have any tips for being responsible and maximizing the points without going over budget each month. Do you have like a way that you do that, or what do you share with people that might come to you with that issue?
Yeah, so I always recommend, before you even start, to sit down with your husband or your spouse and figure out your family's monthly budget and know where you spend and what categories, and stick with that. We don't want to open up a credit card that we have to spend $10,000 to get that chunk of points when we only spend $2,000 a month. So sitting down and budgeting, I really like to use a budget app, and I put in my expenses every time I spend something, just to kind of keep on track and be mindful of where I'm spending. Another great thing is, if you are someone who maybe has in the past spent a lot on a credit card, you can actually ask the bank to set a smaller credit limit for your card so that you can't
Right.
overspend on it. That's a really good one. But really just being mindful about spending it. And I will say a lot of spouses, especially husbands, always tend to be a little hesitant on
Right.
this.
Right.
And so my suggestion is always get that first card, a really low annual fee card. Just say, I want to try it with one card. Take them on that first free vacation and they will be hooked after that. Because my husband was worried. And that first trip when he was on a plane and he was like, this cost us $5. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, okay, I think we can do this.
Right. It's like once we were able to prove it to them and then they
Yeah.
get to enjoy it as well. It's like, oh, okay, well, wait a minute. My mind has changed a little bit here. I
Yeah.
love that. And I definitely want to dive into that because I think there's some fun things that we'll, definitely get to because like I said, following your Instagram is so much fun. And I saw that you recently went on a vacation. So I love, love, love. But one more question, just kind of on the logistics around it. And then we'll get into some of those fun stories. I'm thinking about like any kind of mistakes to avoid. So what are some of the common mistakes or, maybe some of the pitfalls that people fall into when they start collecting these travel points? And then, how can they avoid doing that?
Yeah. So the biggest mistake that I see people with, let's just say you had that Chase flexible point card. The bank wants you to use those points within their travel portal on their website. So when you log into Chase American Express to go pay your credit card, it's going to say, hey, you have 60,000 points. Go spend this $600 in the travel portal. And a lot of people book their travel directly in the bank's portal. And you are losing a lot of money when you do that. So like I said, if you had 60,000 points, it's going to be a little over $600 worth of value. Whereas if you transfer those points to Hyatt or Southwest Airlines or United, you can like double or triple the amount of money and get like $2,000 to $3,000 worth out of those points. So that's the biggest mistake I see people make is just not knowing about transferring them because the bank's trying to get you to use their travel portal and you're losing out on a ton of money.
Got it. See, these are all these little secrets that we need to be aware of. I love it. Well, okay, so getting into some of the good fun stuff too. I definitely want to because like I said, I'm going to admit I was just completely binging your Instagram in the last couple of days. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I want to be there. I want to be doing these things, but I also one of the things that I value so much, and I feel like, when we have kids and we start getting older, it's that whole value of time, right? Like that, we think we have all this time to do all of the things. And take it from me as a mom that has a now 22-year-old and a 15-year-old, time goes by so fast. And I am so grateful for the moments that we've had, especially, I'm excited. We're traveling to see family for in the next few weeks. And, it's one of those things that I feel like, these are some of our most cherished memories. But I also love that. Yeah. And I also love that we're instilling this in our kids to go see the world, go see the places. And, there are ways to be able to do this. And this is making it even better. I know my daughter's going to be thrilled to hear all of this information, but I would love for you to speak to, saving for those family vacations, because I know many of our listeners are in the same boat where they have families and they're thinking about these big family trips. So, what are some of the strategies that you have that I think, for when you go on these vacations and you're booking these vacations, can you use points for other things besides just the plane, the flights and the hotels? Are you able to use them for other things that you're doing on vacation? How does that work?
Yeah. So the two biggest ones, like you said, are going to be airlines and hotels for you to spend on vacation. But there's tons of different ways that you can use points. You can use them for Airbnbs and VRBOs. If you're more of like a larger family that hotels just really don't work for you and you want to rent a big house, that's totally doable. We just did a call in our membership on cruise ships because there's some people that really like to go on cruises. You can use points for that. You just said you went to Disney. You can use points to pay for your entire Disney tickets and go to Disney for practically free and not have
Wow.
to pay for your tickets, which is honestly the most expensive part about the Disney vacation.
Yes,
Tickets are probably more than the hotel.
totally.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah, you can use them for rental cars. There's just a lot of different ways. The most valuable is going to be the hotels and the airlines, but I always tell my clients that no matter what it is, like if it's important to you to not pay anything for that trip and you want to cover everything, you can do that. But you're going to get the most bang for your buck with the hotels and the airlines.
Yeah. Now, curious, just because this kind of popped up for me as I'm thinking about it, is, for people that love going to, all of these destinations, are there some places or vacation types where points go further?
Not really.
Okay.
You can pretty much go anywhere you want. I mean, yes, there's going to be places that are more expensive cash wise and points wise,
Mhm.
like the big ones, Cancun and things like that. But really, you can go to any country, any island out there and use points to get there for the most part.
Okay, awesome. That's good to know. So now I would love to hear, some personal success stories, whether it be your stories or stories from maybe other moms that have, gotten into this and started doing this, that you were able to help to travel to these amazing destinations. You can even talk about your latest trip. I mean, just saying that you were able to have your child travel as much as they have, and they're only, how old did you say?
There's
2?
two.
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible to me. So I would love for you to share any of those, just inspiring stories and things that you have actually either experienced or your clients have experienced.
Yeah, like you were saying, the family travel really is important to us and like giving her those experiences. So once we figured this out, we actually said we want to take her on a trip for her birthday every single year instead of buying her all the presents that she's going to forget what we got her for her birthday, but she'll remember the trips. And so we've taken her somewhere every year. And as soon as she's old enough to ask where she wants to go, we're going to start doing that. But one of the trips that we just came back from was Puerto Vallarta down in Mexico. So that was her first trip out of the country, and it was actually mine too, which is
Nice.
wild. And one of the tricks that we have discovered on points that you were saying, saving money for families, because you go on these trips, but you still have to pay for the food, and the food really, really adds up. And so
Mhm.
we used points to stay at an all-inclusive resort for 4 nights, and we paid $0 to stay in a room that would have cost us $1,200, which is, I don't even know who pays those prices.
Right. And it was
And
gorgeous, I can attest.
and we were able to eat and drink for the 5 days we were there and not have to pay for a single thing. Like it really, like my daughter ate so much shrimp and smoothies and like all of the things. And so it made the vacation so much better knowing like we really were saving tons of money. So all inclusives really are kind of like the hidden secret in the points world, because you're paying just as much as you would at a regular hotel, but it's including everything and for
Wow.
completely free. So that is like one of the biggest ones. We also got to fly down there first class, which was really nice. We've never done that before.
That
We
is
did
my
that.
dream. Yeah, I've never flown first class, and that is one thing I always say, that is on my bucket list.
Yeah, it was amazing. We're definitely
Awesome.
going to be doing that again. It should have cost a little over 3,000 for the three of us to fly first class, and we paid around $200 for our tickets, and that
Oh,
was in taxes.
wow. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Unbelievable. Like it's almost hard to wrap your brain around,
Yeah.
especially when you're like, I'm now, almost 51. And so it's one of those things that it's like, it's the saving, it's the saving, it's the saving. And, you think, wow, to be able to fly first class and like, be able to stay at an all inclusive. And like you said, the food and the meals, I mean, that's huge to be able to
Yeah.
save on that. And to stay, in this luxury space. I mean, what an experience. So great. Now, also curious with the travel points. So, how long does it take you typically to save up for a trip like that?
Yeah, so that one obviously was a lot more points than a
Yeah.
normal trip because we did fly first class and stay at some really nice luxury resorts. And so that one,
Right.
it took about 4 credit card sign up
Okay.
bonuses to get. And me and my husband opened credit cards separately. So we opened the same card just separately so we can double our points. So it really was just the two of us opening 2 credit cards each to get us the points for that trip. So it really isn't like as hard. It doesn't take years to rack up these points for trips like this. You
Okay.
honestly could get 1 card and in 3 months have enough points for like a domestic vacation in the US.
Oh, nice. Nice. Okay. So that, I mean, that's just another great thing to know that it's not something that you have to be saving, because that's what I would have thought. I would have thought, oh my gosh, you're
Yeah.
going to have to, rack up these points. It's going to take you a year or two maybe to get on a trip. But again, when you mentioned that your, little one has traveled as much as she has, I'm thinking, okay, well, there's got to be a little more to this than I know.
Yeah.
Now, someone is totally inspired, because I know there will be lots of listeners that are inspired after hearing this today. What's the one thing, if you were able to share the one thing that they should do as soon as they finish listening to this episode to begin their travel hacking journey? What do you think what would you say that is?
Yeah, I would definitely say just go apply for that Chase Sapphire preferred card. Just go fill out the application. It takes 5 minutes, your name, your address, your monthly income, just simple things. And you could be approved in 5 minutes to start earning you points for your next vacation that you want to take. So this is a great time to do it during the holiday season with all of the gifts you're going to be buying. You're going to be spending money anyway, Black Friday. You might as well be putting it on a good travel credit card so that you can take a free trip in 2025. I also will say definitely download my free Travel Points 101 guide, because that'll walk you through everything that you need to do to get started.
I know, gosh. So tell us more about that. So, what it is you do, because you're not just doing it yourself, you are helping others do this. And this has become like your thing. I mean, you're definitely sharing and teaching. So tell us more about how people can get into your world and what they can be doing to get your help and advice on this.
Yeah, I love traveling, but I love seeing other women probably travel just as much as my own
Right.
self. I love seeing my clients say that they just went to Disney World with their family of 4 for $50, like just these crazy wins I love seeing. So if you are interested in it, I have a membership. It's called the Travel Tribe membership. It's a Facebook community that's only $27 a month. And we help each other plan vacations, figure out the whole points thing. We do monthly live calls. It's really a wonderful community. Right now we have women planning trips to Bali, Italy, Cancun, like all over the place. So it's just so much fun. And then if you really just want to dive into like all of it and figure it out, I have a travel course called the Travel Points Academy that is self-paced and really walk you through absolutely everything that you need to know.
Oh, that's so great. And I'd love for you to just share before we wrap up today is, what is some encouragement? Like, what are some of the favorite, things that that has inspired you to do this? Because I'm sure it is so rewarding. I love, we love when we're able to help other people and see their dreams become a reality. But, for those that are still like, oh, do I take this jump? What words of encouragement do you have for them for the world of travel and what that has done in your life?
Yeah, it really has just changed our lives to be able to take trips like this and to not just take a trip and stay at like a Holiday Inn, but like stay in these luxury resorts and fly first class and just make these like core memories. Like my daughter got to release sea turtles on the beach on her last trip. Like that is something you're just not going to forget. And I would have never been able to make that memory without the points. So it really can change your life. And one of my favorite activities to do, especially this time of year, is get 2025 calendar out and write down all the places that you want to go, or even make like a dream list of like your life of where you want to go and start working backwards and seeing how you can earn those trips and how much money you could save on those trips. To see like a trip to Italy would cost me $15,000 and know that I can go for less than 100, like that really makes you inspired to like go after it and just start.
Totally. Gosh, you have like definitely got me going, especially since a really great friend of mine, her and her husband just took a big, gosh, I think it was like 3 week trip to Italy,
Oh,
and
wow.
we got to live vicariously through them. But I thought, okay, I want to be next on that
Yeah.
flight. But I certainly would love to be able to do that within a budget and to save a ton of money. So I am just so grateful. I'm so happy that, we were able to connect and meet. And I just love what value you're going to bring to my audience and being able to hear this. And I know it will inspire so many women and, families. Again, I feel like it's such a bigger picture because time is such a beautiful place, but we just don't ever know how much time we have. And I feel like this is one of those great things that we can, act on, not just listen to, but actually act on and start exploring this idea to where you can make it become a reality. And the information you shared was priceless. I can attest, ladies, that truly you definitely need to be following Megan, because not only is there inspiration and you get to follow her vacations, but all of her tips and then the program she has going on. So I just can't wait for more families to be able to travel. And again, I'm excited to go share it with my own husband and kiddos. But really quickly, where can we find you? Where can the ladies find you if they'd like to learn more or follow along with your travel tips and insights?
Yeah, so I hang out on Instagram at Points to Paradise, and I also have a podcast called Points to Paradise where I share destination trips and how to earn them and all of the tips and tricks on traveling on points. So you can follow me on both of those platforms. And thank you so much for having me today. This is so much fun.
Awesome. And we'll also have all of that in the show notes. So we'll have all of the information for you. Again, thank you so much. And just remember, as we are wrapping up, to keep rising, keep shining, and know that the best is yet to come. Bye, friends.
Thanks for joining me here today. Your presence means the world to me. If you enjoyed what you heard, please consider leaving a rating and review, and don't forget to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Head to the show notes and let's connect. Rise to Shine Co. is ready to support you in coaching, collaboration, life tips, or even a coffee chat. Until next time, keep shining, my friends.